Right, so what this is, okay, we've got the story synopsis and lead character reveals for Predator Badlands. So just a quick bit of background. Prey came out, I think, like 2 years ago now, I think. And it sort of rejuvenated the Predator franchise to quite a big degree, actually. People seem to really like it. It just did reasonably well. It was a straight to Hulu movie, which, whether you sort of agree or disagree with that, it's kind of besides the point. They decided to shoot themselves in the foot. I think they would have actually earned reasonable money at the theaters. And now, off the back end of that, 20th Century Studios announced 2 new movies. So whether you like it or dislike it, it's actually really besides the point. It's obviously done well enough for their metrics to be like, yeah, we're going to invest millions more money into it. So one of those movies is a film called Predator Badlands. Now, it's the synopsis is a bit, Prey did have a young girl in it, Native American girl, Amber Midthunder in the lead role. I like the film overall. It's sad to see the Predator franchise now be co-opted on a continual basis by strong females, because this new movie, Predator Badlands, which is not a sequel to Prey, even though they're going to be doing a sequel to Prey, so presumably that will also have a female in the lead, has females in the lead. This is a quintessentially high testosterone, masculine franchise, and we've got Elle Fanning in the lead role. Elle Fanning is like 5'0", blonde hair. She probably weighs about 50 pounds, if that. Teeny tiny. So there's a bit of a background, and this is mainly for Bo before we sort of dive into everything else. So I'll get your opinion on that first, Bo, actually, before we take a look at the story synopsis and some of the lead character reveals, just so you're all caught up and we'll get your opinion out there. What do you think?
Yeah, well, just on the strength of it, it sounds lame. I love Predator 1. I honestly love Predator 1. I watched it when I was about 16 or 17, had it on VHS, and I was a little bit obsessed with it. Like, weirdly, like, watched it like 50 times or something, or maybe more. And like can quote most of the script. And like parts of it just live in my psyche. I love Predator 1. Okay. Predator 2, movie. I also think is really good. Or when I was younger, when I was in my teens or my early 20s, also loved it. Who doesn't like Gary Busey being way over the top? It's a completely different movie, but I also like Predator 2. And then the other Predator movies, I don't think I've even seen Prey. I've seen all the other ones like Predators and Alien vs. Predator and stuff, and they just progressively get lamer and worse. And so this one sounds crap, but I'll probably end up giving it a whirl.
Did you watch Prey
see how it goes. I don't think I did. If I did, I haven't really committed any of it to memory. I don't remember a little girl. You say you went to Hulu or something?
Yeah.
So
it went to Disney Plus in the UK. You'll be able to find it online for sailing the high seas.
So I don't subscribe to that, but I could or should make the effort to download it. Illegally and watch it. This new. I mean, I like Predator. It's one of those franchises like Alien. I'm gonna give it, even if it gets really roasted, I'll probably still be giving it a whirl. But on the strength of it, where these things get paused, and it's some little girl. I mean, that's one of the things I've said loads of times. I'm like sick of 5'1", 70-pound women fighting and making out that they're hard and good at fighting. I haven't bought that for years and years and years. I don't like it. I just sit there like, really? Because the thing is, you know what it's like. Like, you lift, yeah. You're a geek. You've watched tons of boxing and UFC and whatever. It's not believable. A small woman beating things up. It's just stupid. So anyway, it sounds crap, but I'll probably end up giving it a whirl.
All right.
So you don't have any faith in judo then, Bo?
Well, no, not when one person's like 50 pounds heavier than the other. When you see a real judo expert, Even someone like, do you remember Ronda Rousey? She used to hip throw people something fierce. Do you remember her?
Yeah. Yeah.
If you try to do it on someone, a bloke that's like taller than her and 50 pounds heavier, and he
Yeah.
doesn't want to be thrown, her
He's not
hip
gonna get
throws
thrown.
aren't gonna. It's not gonna happen. It
Yeah.
doesn't work.
Yeah.
She'll try and
Yeah.
hip throw you, and he'll just pick her up and body
Yeah.
slam her. It doesn't. So it,
Yeah.
you know, real fighting is about weight, speed, and aggression. If the other person's too small and too light, doesn't matter how good you are at judo. Within reason, you can get lucky, and you know it's not quite.
I mean, real fighting, like fighting day to day. You know, unskilled fighters, just normal fighters. It's about raw power. That's all it's about. It's about who can elicit the most force. Like, that's all it is. Because people aren't skilled, generally speaking. Like the average person just isn't skilled. So it's about how much raw power you can elicit. That's all it is. It's all it boils down to. And demonstrably, that's going to be men. Certainly not 5 foot women. So let's take a look at this anyway. So Project Badlands is now filming in New Zealand. Story synopsis and lead character spoilers. Now, it is important to note when we get the character breakdowns, this is a casting call, right? But we already have the actress cast for this. So that's important because of what they say in terms of who they're sort of opening the role up for. And this is more like a wider conversation about Hollywood and their casting anyway. So the synopsis is, quote, a groundbreaking film in which one of the two main storylines delves into the intricate bond of two different sisters. Their familial ties are put to the ultimate test as they pursue divergent paths and missions. I mean, it's pretty basic, to be fair. Now, the two sisters are twins, so it's one actor playing double duty. So 2 strong women's, I guess. I know. Elle Fanning, 5 foot nothing, 2 of them. So here's the casting call. This casting is for a dual character and describes both characters. Now remember, they've already cast the actor. It says character identifies as female or non-binary. Like, I hope that the non-binary aspect is simply because they're opening the role up to, like, well, women basically who are just like, say they're non-binary, and maybe it's something which they have to do now. I don't know. I'm not aware of that many casting calls which have this on it as a specific now. Because they don't casting calls, they don't really reveal that much. They don't often reveal casting calls. It's something which they do actually sort of keep hidden these days. Open ethnicity, mid-20s to mid-40s, which is a massive range. Jesus. So first character, Thea, has spent most of her life in a laboratory and is now embarking on her first big adventure in the world. She's incredibly smart, witty, enthusiastic, and unflappable. She has an innate disregard for danger, not because she's fearless, but simply because she's naive. Strong comedy chops required. The other sister, Tessa, has a militant intensity when it comes to achieving her family's goals and mission objectives. She will not let anything get in her way, not even her sister, her twin sister. So the casting call mentions they're in New Zealand filming, which they're filming right now. It says the lead actress must be 5'8" or shorter, must be comfortable training for heavy action, as well as wearing prosthetics and heavy makeup. So, I mean, this is some of the shots that we've sort of got with filming and stuff like that. So Elle Fanning is essentially it was revealed that she was in talks for the lead role. I'd say that's probably all but confirmed due to when they're shooting this, June to September, and when that initial rumor dropped. You can't really see much from the photos, but this is one of the production locations that they were doing it. So there you go. I mean, I titled this Predator Goes Woke because a question mark, isn't it? It's do we buy? Inherently having females in the role is obviously not going woke, obviously, right? Just that as a blanket statement. Obviously, it's not. It's how they're implemented. It's how they're used, and it's also how the franchise can be co-opted moving forwards. And I do feel, unfortunately, and I like Dan Trachtenberg, but I do feel, unfortunately, that the Predator franchise may now potentially be in the wrong hands if he's going to persistently just put women in the lead role. I was fine with Prey. Prey was I enjoyed Prey. But does this now mean every single Predator movie has to have women in the lead role? I mean, you're going to lose your fan base at that point. Like, remember where you came from to where you go. So there's my sort of 2 cents worth. I'll get Culture's thoughts first, I think.
Well, I mean, instinctually, I fully suspect this is going to, remove the question mark soon enough. I don't really like the idea, as Bo said before we started on this topic, of little people being able to throw big things around. And say again.
What?
I didn't hear what you said either, Nate.
I said Peter Dinklage isn't in this.
You're right. Well. Yeah, you are correct. Yeah. No, it's just but I think that Trachtenberg may lean into this. I am tired of them taking male things and turning them into female things. It just doesn't work. There's different factors at play, and you can't pretend that a 5'1" little girl is going to go up against a 6-something monstrous predator. I mean, literally, it's named that way for a reason. It's a predator. It's
the galaxy's greatest hunter.
Yeah, it hunts things. It hunts whatever it thinks is the most challenging thing. And I wouldn't hunt this 5'1" thing. There are more things that would be more interesting to hunt. So you've just destroyed the premise for the film. Yeah. Because this little 5'1" thing is not the thing that it would hunt. Sorry, to use my best Canadian there. But anytime I see synopsis like this, I'm like, well, it doesn't make sense. The internal logic of of what this is built upon isn't satisfied with that premise, that hypothesis, that synopsis in this case. It doesn't work. It's the same. Prey wasn't a bad movie. It wasn't a great movie, but to fall back into that same hole and try to put it out on the big screen, I think this is a big screen film. So, I mean, why
they've not confirmed that yet, to be fair. I think they probably will do.
It's 20th Century Studios. I mean, if they relegate it to television, I mean, in Hulu specifically, then, maybe you can have 12 people get interested in it. But I just, if you approach this as another male franchise that's being, infected with this idea that ladies and men are the same thing, you got a problem. So regardless, it stops at the point of believability right at the beginning for me, and then it just falls apart further from there. So that's all.
Yeah. That synopsis sounded so crap. That sounded so crap to me. That's laughable. Except it's beneath contempt. I think Elle Fanning is particularly sort of delicate and elfin as well, right? It's not that she's just a woman. She's particularly fragile, right? Her neck's like a toothpick. It's ridiculous. And the thing Culture Casino said is absolutely right. Predator's supposed to be hunting out the most badass prey it can find because it's like a worthy opponent for it, isn't it?
Yeah.
So this just sounds super lame to me. Yeah, I mean, someone in the chat said, or more than one person saying, maybe they'll have female predators. Don't know if that's a thing or they're just joking about in the chat, but I mean, either way, this just the thing you said, Nate, right at the beginning is that Predator 1 and Predator 2, it's like an ultra lads thing. Predator 1, it's like special forces dudes. Predator 2, it's like different types of cops trying to out-macho each other. That's the thing, right? And this is just completely subverted. I'm not interested in two sisters, two different stripes of Mary Sue out Mary Suing each other. I'm not interested in that. No. So yeah, that's my take.
No, I like it. Yeah, I don't know. It's difficult because Dan Trachtenberg has made some pretty decent films, right? I like 10 Cloverfield Lane. You know, as a movie, I actually think that's a pretty damn decent film. To be fair, I think it's actually one of John Goodman's best performances in recent years. John Goodman was just insanely good in that film. Terrifying performance, like really nuanced. So you know, Dan Trachtenberg has done good stuff, but there's always that air of sort of trepidation and yeah, like almost kind of hatred for directors that sort of just take properties and decide, you know what we're going to do? We're just going to, just butcher this and just move it so far from what its original sort of inception point was. You know, I mean, it was born of a joke. You know, Predator was born of a joke. Like, well, who's Stallone going to go fight next? You know, who's Rocky going to fight next? Going to fight E.T. And that is quite literally how Predator. That's how Predator came to be. It was out of a joke. So yeah, it's a shame, really. But we'll have to wait and see, I guess, when we find out a little bit more about it. But it's certainly not. Yeah, it's not the ultra masculine Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jesse Ventura and everyone else, is it? It's so far from that.
I was going to reference like the Predator makes mincemeat of Jesse the Body Ventura. Like he's like. The body is like not even close to being alpha enough to stand against the Predator. We go from that to double Elle Fanning. Like, okay.
Yeah, it's quite different. It's quite a difference, isn't it?
And you mentioned the director. I do feel sorry for directors that have got skill and talent and they're not particularly polished, but it's all about the writing. If they get given a script or a story, which is all kinds of posed and just woke and all that sort of stuff, what can you do? You can only polish it so much. But if the underlying thing is nonsense, then you know it's like The Acolyte. I said The Acolyte looks good, right? A lot of the backgrounds, I thought, you know, the CGI or whatever looked great, but the writing was complete crud. So, the thing is crud.
Yeah. Well, we'll keep you up to date on this. We've got some super chats on this, guys, as well, actually. So. Matthew Brown says, I wish they would do a movie focused on the Predator homeworld and see how they progress and train from younglings to the hunters we all know, as well as things we haven't learned about their culture. Yeah, I mean, those kind of films, you're never going to get that because point of view characters, you have to have a point of view character and they have to be able to communicate to the audience, basically. So I don't think you'll ever get that. But what do you guys think about that at all?
Yeah, I think it was in Predators where at one point you see the Predator homeworld briefly, right?
No, that's AVP Requiem.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Was it? Yeah. Okay, that one. And you see, and
it looked good though.
And I was interested in that. I was like, oh, it'd be cool if we had a scene or two or more of that. I agree with that super chat. I'd like to see that. But you're also right, Nate. That would be, you know, very difficult to do in all sorts of ways, and we'll probably never ever get it. But yeah, I'd love to see, like, the Predator homeworld and how there's different types of predators. Right? There's bigger ones than others, or there's like some sort of slave caste and warrior caste and stuff. Yeah, I'd love to see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you could probably do it properly. But it would have to be all in subtitles. And I think you'd have to invest in one of the characters, from beginning to end, so probably one of the younglings that was being brought up to train. I think you'd have to, cover it from that perspective and move forward. I mean, I could imagine putting it together in my head right now. I'm trying to figure out how to lay it out, but I think you just do a hero's journey for a predator, which would be kind of interesting, something happens, you see them, the struggle, in the caste system, and he's just grasped away from his family to go and train, which his family considers, an honor or whatever. And, you could definitely build into it, all of that, but it would be, I would love it because you could do it with a lot of practical effects and make this thing real. And then you'd set yourself up for like understanding an alien culture all along. I think it could be done. And now with modern technology and the volume, you could use the volume sparingly in a way, along with practical effects, to actually, build society. Like in this, like somebody does something wrong and there's actually a court. I mean, you could do a lot of great-eyed things from within this. But that's just me. I mean, to essentially establish a hierarchy there and a society for the predators. I think that'd be awesome. I don't know. It's just me though.
Yeah, I think you. Yeah, I mean, I stand by it. Like, I don't think you'll ever get it, but you could definitely do it in a game.
Yeah.
Like
oh yeah, it would. That'd be a great video game, right? Yeah.
Sort of successfully there, but yeah. So we got one from Taker610. Says in Prey, the predator kills himself. Shake my head. Yeah, it was. Yeah, sort of, but yeah. Marshmallow says Elle Fanning is 5'9", so yeah, just on the cusp of the 5'8". So yeah, it's about right. We'll have to wait and see. We got another one from Mari over on Streamlabs for $5. Says, I would love to see a predator in feudal Japan fighting a samurai in this movie.
Oh wow!
They should have planned to make it into a trilogy where each movie is in a different time period. I agree with that.
Well,
this one is set in the future. So it is a time period, but it's not a period piece. It is actually set in the future, this film, which
I would support that film, Mr. H, if it were Yasuke and he was a black samurai that was gay.
And he doesn't win at the end.
Yeah, I would support that premise.
He gets butchered. And we see it in impeccable detail how he gets skinned alive, and Predator takes his head as a trophy. How about that one?
That sounds great.
Yeah, I think that sounds great. How about take that, Yasuke, you fucker. Oh, can you imagine the outrage from everyone? Black samurai.
No. One chance to rewrite culture. Oh no.
Yeah, right. But yeah, no, Mary, like period pieces for Predator definitely work. I think the only good thing about this Predator movie is it is going to be set in the future, which I've never understood why they just don't do. You know, Predator in the future works perfectly because it's a sci-fi franchise, right? Like it's super high tech. It works to have it in the future. There's no reason why you couldn't do that. So, but yeah, period pieces. Future Japan's a great location for a Predator movie. 100%. Don't argue with that at all.